Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Arrow Knits podcast. My name is Katie. I'm from Long Island, New York, where I live with my husband, our dog Lola, our crested gecko Scully, and our betta fish Crowley. This is a podcast about knitting and general yarny goodness with some other crafts sprinkled in sometimes. If you are a new viewer, thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed chatting with me today. If you're new to the podcast and you enjoyed today's episode, I hope you consider subscribing so that you don't miss any of my new episodes. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so very much for checking back in with me from week to week. Having a lot of fun with the podcast, and I really appreciate everyone who's been checking in every episode. And I know that there have been some people, particularly on Instagram, who have been tagging me saying that they're watching the podcast and enjoying it, and you know who you are, and I just want to say a huge thank you. It means the world to me. I'm so flattered, so thank you so much. You can find me on Instagram as @ArrowKnits, and you can find me on Ravelry as knitmusic. We also have a podcast group on Ravelry just called the Arrow Knits Podcast. It's where I post the show notes for each episode. And there's also a hello thread where you can say hello to me and introduce yourself. I'd love to say hello back. And there's also a questions thread where you can ask me anything. I'll do my best to answer. You can also ask questions about each episode in the episode thread itself. It doesn't matter to me. I'll do my best to answer them. So I have a lot to share with you this week, acquisition-wise, and I do have some fun knitting to share with you as well. So I'm just going to jump straight into it. I want to show you, I have 2 finished objects this time, and you'll be pleased to know that one of them is my fangirl socks. Finally. I'm so happy with these. There's 2 of them and they're finished. So this is the Fangirl Sock pattern by Ren and Ollie. If you've tuned in before, you've seen these for a couple episodes in a row now, although they were not completed. It's an awesome pattern. I followed the pattern exactly as written, except that I did not continue the feather and fan pattern up the back of the leg. I just did plain stockinette. I did that for 2 reasons. I did try it at first with the feather and fan on the back of the leg. I thought that it was too stretchy. And then also, because I was so far behind on these, being that these were my March socks, it was faster to just knit half of the sock plain stockinette for the rest. So it was a combination of those 2 things. But I really, really like the way they turned out that way. And actually, this is the best fitting pair of socks that I've ever knit. So go figure. This yarn is Wool & Vine Yarns in her Wilderness base, which is merino, mohair, and nylon. I don't know if you can see the fuzz. Well, you can see it a little bit. The mohair in this is so much fun. It's just enough to make it fuzzy and warm, but not scratchy at all. It's still very soft. So I had some issues myself with knitting this pattern. The pattern is beautifully and perfectly written. If you decide to knit these, I highly recommend it. Just go with what the pattern says. I tend to overthink things, so I started these on a US 1.5, which is my normal 2.5 millimeter, and it is what the pattern calls for. And I thought that they were way too big, so I frogged them, recast on with the US 1, and I knit them all the way past the heel. I even put in the heel and tried them on, and they were most definitely way too tight. Could barely get them on my foot. So I frogged those, recast on again with the US 1.5, and it did fit perfectly. I also did 10 repeats of the lace pattern, which is what the pattern, it's what she recommends for her foot size, and it turned out to be also what worked for my foot size as well. It's an afterthought heel. You do put in a 1 row of waste yarn, scrap yarn, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I like doing it that way. It makes me feel a little bit better. Haven't cut my knitting yet. I guess I will try that someday just to say that I did it, but I like putting in the scrap yarn, especially toe up is not something that I'm used to, so I really needed the security of doing that. And the first one, I just knit a little bit past that scrap yarn, and then I did the heel immediately to make sure that it was going to fit my foot before I knit the rest of the sock. And then when I knit the second sock, I was able to just put in the waist yarn, knit all the way up the leg and the cuff, and then I did the heel last. So that worked out really, really well for me. I did Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off, which I've never done before. It's okay. I'm not 100% pleased with my results, and I know that I've seen podcasts where some others express that as well. I didn't have a whole huge ton of flaring out, and you can see that I actually haven't woven in my ends on the tops of the cuffs because I wasn't 100% married to the Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off, so I blocked them and left the tail there. But I think I'm going to weave it in. I think I am going to stick with it. It gives enough room. The pattern suggests a tubular bind off, which I love tubular bind offs. I think that they give an amazingly finished, polished looking edge for ribbing, but I did it twice. I tried it twice and my edge looked awesome, but it was too tight. I tried it the second time looser and it was a little bit better, but it was still way too tight for me to get over my foot and onto my ankle. So I Googled Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off and went with that instead. I don't have too much flaring. Let me grab one, pull one off of the blocker to show you. So it's not a crazy amount of flaring. It's not perfect. I don't love it. Here's the tail. It's just tucked in there. But I think it's okay. It's not the most beautiful edge, as you can see. It's kind of a raised ridge kind of thing, but it's pretty stretchy. It gets the job done, and I can get it over my foot, and it's not so loose that it's then dripping down once it's on my ankles. So I love these. Love the way they came out. Highly, highly recommend the pattern. It's only $2 Australian, which is less than $2 US, and it is well worth it. Super fun. So the other finished object I have to share with you, I'm very, very excited about, and of course I finished a winter hat just in time for spring, but that's okay. It is the quill hat by Andrea Mowry of Find Your Fade fame, and I showed you my work in progress last time. This is in the latest issue of Taproot magazine called Weave. And I love the way this turned out. This is a reversible hat, so I'll show you both sides. This is technically the right side. This is the outside of the hat, how it's supposed to look. And let's turn it inside out. And this is technically the wrong side. I kind of like the wrong side better. So it's a completely reversible pattern. It's a super easy chart. It's just all texture. And the charts are just the reverse of each other. So it's one chart and it's this whole panel, but they're just the opposites of each other as you're adding and subtracting purl stitches to make the V's. So it's really, really easy. It's very intuitive once you do it a couple times. And then the crown shaping ends up being really beautiful too. See if I can show you that. So I will try to insert, I took a couple well, my husband took a couple photos of me wearing the hat on a nice sunny day, so I will try to insert those instead of me putting it on here now, because I feel like that would make my hair totally crazy, and and also it's a little bit difficult for me to wear with my glasses, being that it's a slouchy hat. So I will try to insert photos of me wearing it. This is, again, the quill hat using Stonewool Cormo, which I won't go on too much about because I'm always waxing and waning and not waxing and waning. No, that's the wrong expression. Waxing poetic. That's what I'm looking for about Stonewool Cormo. I love it. It's a worsted and woolen spun worsted weight yarn. The pattern recommends size 6 and 8 needles, US size 6 and 8, which I found to be a little bit too big. I had originally cast on in those sizes, and that progress I showed you on my last episode was actually using the 6 and the 8. But when I finished the charts, you have to repeat this you can see these V's 6 times, and it's supposed to measure a certain length. And when I finished, or I had one less repeat, actually, I decided to measure it, I was already at the recommended, I was already at the length that I was supposed to be at. So I'm not the kind of person that would just leave off a repeat and just keep going because it measured the right measurements. That really bothered me. So I fragged the whole thing back and recast on, and I'm very happy that I did. So I recast on using a US 5 and a US 7. So a 7 is a 4.5 millimeter and a US 5 is a 3.75 millimeter needle. Very, very happy that I did. It grew a little bit in blocking. The yarn description says it blooms in the soak. And it does a little bit, but it doesn't bloom in so much as that it gets a lot bigger than what you were knitting it. It just really kind of fulls, it fluffs up. So let me see if I can show you close up how beautiful the texture is. Everything just pops so well with this yarn. The only thing, if you knit this pattern, because it's reversible, you have to be really, really careful about weaving in your ends. So I sort of put off weaving in my ends for a little while because I wasn't sure how exactly to go about it. And then finally I realized that with these columns that run all the way down, it's basically like weaving in and ribbing. And when I weave in and ribbing, I take whatever column is closest to the tail, and I pick up all around the loops of the knit stitch, and then I go all the way down the bottom. That's a very Pink Knits tutorial. I will try to leave a link to it in the show notes because I'm not describing it very well. It's hard to describe in words without actually seeing it, but it's super easy, super effective, and nearly invisible if you get the tension just right. If you pull on the tail once you weave it in a little bit and get the tension going, it's pretty well hidden. So I did that on the bottom for the ribbing, but then I also did that on the top. So I secured the center really well, and then I don't even know which one it is. Let's see. I'm guessing it's probably this one, but it might not be, only because it looks a little bit thicker. But I went ahead and wove in like I was weaving it and ribbing vertically. So I would surmise that it's not quite as secure as weaving tails in the normal way, but because I wanted to really maintain the reversibility of this hat, I decided to do that. And it's pretty secure, and it's not like it's on a seam that I'm tugging all the time. It's just the top of my hat, so I just will be careful not to yank on it too much when I use it. So I can't wait to use this next late fall and winter. It'll be nice to have a fresh hat when that season rolls around. So I'm really happy with the way that came out, and I'm really happy with the color. I love that sort of mustardy yellow. So that's Stonewall Cormo in the Tobacco 02 colorway. It's the medium saturation of the tobacco colors that they have, because they have 3 saturations of each colorway. So those are my only 2 finished objects this week, or this episode I should say. But I do have a work in progress to show you, and it is another pair of socks. These are my April socks. I'm very, very excited, so bear with me. Here we go. And I'm also pretty stoked to show you my new project bag. This is a Darn Yarn MN project bag, and it's housing my April sock. So sneak peek there. I'll pull it out and show it to you in a minute. But I love this project bag. I want to show you the back because it has all these really cute woodland creatures. Sorry about the lighting adjusting itself. But there's a bear and a hedgehog, raccoon, there's a squirrel. This is so, so cute. And I liked it because when I first saw this on Chelsea's Etsy shop, I just thought it was paisley. So you see the front of the bag. And I was like, oh, paisley, I like paisley. And I just overlooked it. And then I went back one day, I was looking through her shop again, and I was like, is that a squirrel? So I clicked on it, and then she had a picture of the back, and you can see all these cool animals on it with the bunny. So it's like it's pretty I don't want to say hot pink, but it's a pretty bright pink, and then like this really purpley blue. So pink isn't 100% my color, and then I'm going to show you socks that have pink in the cuff, so that's, I'm a liar. I do like pink, but I normally wouldn't have gone for a bag that had pink in it, but it's just so perfect with the little woodland creatures. So if you've never checked out Chelsea's bags before, you really should. It's Darn Yarn MN. There's her little logo that she stitches onto each bag. Cute peekaboo bags. It's got a handle, which I like. I tend to just grab this more so than hook it onto my hand, but I really like that there's a little handle. There's a cute little progress keeper on there, which I think I'm just going to leave attached because it matches perfectly and it's an awesome zipper pull, but I could take it off if I needed a progress keeper. And it's got plenty of room in here for a sock project or a hat project, mittens, anything like that. This would be perfect for. And it's got the nice little clear peekaboo so you can see what's in there, see what's going on, admire your progress on your socks. So let me show you. Got my little gauge ruler hanging out in there. And now it's hanging out on the floor. So these are my April socks. I'm loving the way they're coming out. Yes, they're pink and purple. Look at that texture. Oh my goodness. Look at it. It's so squishy. Like, this is so thick. This is the V-Socks pattern, V-E-E. And I did mention that I was going to cast them on in my last episode, and I did, and I'm so glad that I did. So it's a new pattern by Brandy Velton. Brandy is also the dyer behind Long Dog Yarns, and this is Long Dog Yarns. So this is the mermaid hair colorway. Let me pull out the yarn cake because it's so beautiful. Mermaid hair. So it's all different shades of pinks and purplies with the occasional fleck of speckle in there that's like a dark pink or a dark purple here and there. It is absolutely stunning. So this is one of her sock sets, and it came with a contrast or coordinating for heels, tufts, and toes, excuse me. And this is a hot pink. There is a name for this color. I'm not sure what it is. Let's see if it's on this little tiny label. Oh, just says sock mini. So I'm not sure which color this is. If you are interested in the mermaid hair sock set from Long Dog Yarns, it either comes with a coordinating hot pink or a coordinating purple. And I just thought I'll be crazy and get the hot pink because I'm always purple. Purple, purple. I want purple everything. I thought that it would be a little more contrasting to go with a pink, so I did. So the V socks are really fun to knit. At first it's slow going. It's a very easy pattern to memorize. There ends up only being 6, 7, 4, it's a 4-row repeat once you get going. One of the stitches is like I said, it's a little bit time consuming, so one of those 4 rows ends up taking me quite a while as compared to the other rows. I'm a decently fast knitter for an English style knitter because I flick. I'm decently fast at knitting, not as fast as some of you awesome continental knitters out there, but I can knit pretty fast, and it noticeably slowed me down to do the part where you are, if you look closely, you can see these little loops of yarn that you have to grab. So that slowed me down. I'm on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've done 7 repeats now of the pattern, and now I'm really into it. It's going a little bit faster, but this makes the most plush fabric. It's so squishy. So I'm using a US 1.5, 2.5 millimeter, which Brandy calls for US 1, but 1.5 is my usual. So I went with that, and I did put this cuff on my leg, and it fits well. And One thing I want to mention, if you decide to knit these, and it may be just me, but something that I've been doing is after I do the row with the, that creates the texture, I stick my needle in, and I'll show you. I stick my needle in like this, and I go through and I pull a little bit, because each of these little loops is sort of borrowing yarn from the purl column that it's next to. So you can see each of these is separated by a column of purl stitches. At first, I felt like my purl stitches were so messy that they were just really loose and sloppy, and then I realized that each purl stitch is connecting to one of those little loopies. So before I continued with the rest of the pattern, I just went in and sort of just gently pulled on all of those stitches to even them out, and then that made the purl stitches look normal again at a pretty normal tension. So just something to think about if you decide to knit these and you notice the same thing. Just try tugging on that little texture itself. It should straighten out your purls. I also would like to point out that I picked up, so this is an acquisition, I picked up a Knitter's Pride Carbons needle. There you go. So it's their Carbons needles, Carbons with a K, and it's carbon fiber with a metal tip. I actually saved the little insert so that I could read to you what it says. In the Carbons needles, you will find high tensile strength, low weight, lots of flexibility, a warm feel, brass tips with a perfect point, no snag, smooth transition between the brass tips and the carbon fiber needle, and a surface that helps the stitches move smoothly on the needle. So this all sounded very appealing to me. For socks, I use metal needles. For mostly everything else, I prefer wooden needles. Especially being that I do tend to have to size down, I prefer wood. But I thought that these carbon fiber needles sounded like maybe they were the perfect marriage between having a metal needle tip and then the shaft of the needle that might be a little more grippy, like a wooden needle. I am undecided about these. I'm continuing to use them. I like them more and more as I keep using them. However, unlike with the cardboard says that I just read, there is a most definite snag here at the join of where the brass tip meets the carbon fiber shaft on both needles. So it's not a defect, I don't think. It could be the whole pair that I have, but I feel a definite, it catches each time. It's not stuck, it's not, like nothing is sticking up where it's, you would think something was really wrong with the needle. It's just, it definitely catches. The joins at the cord itself, I'm finding to be okay. That doesn't bother me as much though. I don't mind having to push and pull a little bit more, especially because my end stitches, when I do magic loop, I tend to pull them a little bit tighter anyway. So even on needles that join beautifully, sometimes I end up having to give them a little pull anyhow. So that's no big deal to me. But this at first was driving me crazy because there's a catch. There's a catch on both sides of them. It doesn't matter which one I'm using. So that bothers me a little. They are super lightweight. Like, I don't know, you wouldn't really think that a lighter or heavier needle of this size, I mean, it's a US 1.5, it's a 2.5 millimeter, they're tiny, they're little. So you wouldn't really think too much about the weight of it, but this is super lightweight. So I feel like it has a little more give in my hand. I mean, it's not malleable in any way, but it has a little more give in a way to it. It's warmer, unlike metal, which I like, which is something I like about wood. But the snag here is making me crazy. So I've continued to use them. I like them a little bit better. I wanted to stick with them a little while because I felt like I should give them a fair shot. So they're definitely usable. It's not like I would never use these again. But I don't know. I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence about loving them. I have a sort of love-hate with carbon fiber. I'm a musician, I'm a string player, I play violin and viola, and I hate carbon fiber bows. I hate playing with carbon fiber bows, I hate how light they are, And it's never been my preference. I always prefer a wooden bow to play. So the thought of carbon fiber needles, at first I was like, oh no, I can't have carbon fiber needles, it's not gonna work. But they're okay, and in this case, I like the lightweight of them. It's a good thing, unlike when I use a carbon fiber bow to play viola, which I don't like how lightweight it is. I want a heavier bow. So really enjoying these. It's a super plush pattern. It's an addictive pattern. Like I said, it's only the 4-row repeat, and once you get a little bit faster at making those V stitches, it's addicting, and you want to like make one more and make one more, especially in a yarn like this where it's sort of changing colors all the time, and you want to know how that next line of V's is going to make a pattern. And also I feel like this does look mermaidy because it looks like a mermaid tail. So how cool would this be in like a blue-green, like really mermaid tail-ish? Loving it, and I'm also kind of loving that it coordinates with my bag. I've got the whole April vibe going on. So these are my April socks for the Yarngasm box of socks knit along. And if I finish them in April, I will submit them for the Grocery Girls sock bash, which is a month-to-month knit along, but you have to cast on and cast off within that given month to be eligible. So I can't enter my March socks because I finished them in April. But hopefully I'll finish these in April and I'll get to enter those. Like I said, it's a little bit more slow going. So I hope that I don't lose steam. I'm hoping that I have enough pizzazz to cast on the second sock and that I won't get too you know, sort of burnt out on the V-stitch, even though it is so beautiful, the results, or it's unlike anything I've ever seen, really. But I'm thinking of casting on a plain sock. I don't have any vanilla socks on the needles, and I knit them so much faster than pattern socks that I feel like I really want to cast on a vanilla sock to just have it. Just have something easy that I can grab and take with me everywhere. I find that lately I'm trying really hard to take my knitting out in public with me and take it with me when I go places or when I go to work, to have with me in case I find myself able to knit. And sometimes I will shy away from that if I have a patterned thing, depending on what the pattern is. These V socks I'm sort of hesitant to travel too much with, depending on what I'm doing. So I feel like I want to have a vanilla sock cast on, just a non-committal one that's not going to be for, you know, a certain month, or just one that will be for Box of Socks 2017, but I'm not going to be crazy about finishing it in a deadline just to have on the needles. So I'm thinking about doing that, and for that I could use my 9-inch circulars, which I love for vanilla socks. One thing I actually want to say about the Fangirl socks is that I knit these using Magic Loop. I did try them using the 9-inch circulars, and I was able to do the pattern, but it ended up really bothering my wrists because you have to do some decreasing, and shimmying the needles this way when there's not a lot to play with on the bottom was really bothering me. In repetition, it was really bothering me. So I had to switch over. I am faster with a 9-inch circular, so that's why I had tried it, but I had to go back to Magic Loop. It just wasn't working out for me. So yeah, I also tried the V socks on the 9-inch circular, and I actually was not able to do the V-stitch row using the 9-inch circular. There are people who are doing it. Brandy is having a knit along on her Ravelry group, Brandy Velton Designs. And I did see at least one person using a 9-inch circular successfully. I just wasn't able to do it. The whole thing, it just wasn't jiving with the V-stitch and the technique you need to use to execute it. It just wasn't working for me. So I said, no problem. So I did knit the cuff of my V-socks with 9-inch circulars, which took me no time. So. But I switched to my Magic Loop. I'll report back on the carbons. I feel like after I keep knitting with them for a little while longer, I'll have a a better opinion about them. I'm just wondering if other people have that issue at the join and if I have a defective pair, because it is both needle tips. So if you use carbons and you love them and there is no snag at the join, please let me know. Maybe I can contact the company if it's an issue with the needles themselves, because I do like the feel of them. So the V-socks are my only work in progress this week. I've been trying to start on my first light shawl, which I've talked about before, but I was working on it a little bit last night, and I think that I need to go down a needle size. I don't have the extra yarn to block a gauge swatch with it, so let me just show you, just to remind you. I'm stuck. These are the 2 yarns that oh boy, it's a tangly mess. These are the 2 yarns that I'm using for my first light shawl. It's Tosh Merino Light in Onyx and Optic, and it's a crescent shaped asymmetrical shawl. It's got stripes and a lace panel. It's beautiful. I'm very excited about it, but I think that my gauge is too big. So here's what I got done yesterday. So this is the first section, and then I just started a short row over here in the black color. I think that my gauge is too big. I can't quite tell because I looked carefully at the pattern page on Ravelry, and I looked carefully at other people's projects, and it seems like they really used almost all of those 2 skeins for their projects. So I don't have enough to knit a little swatch and soak it and block it and see what the gauge is. So the gauge is supposed to be 4.5 stitches to the inch. So it's a fingering weight yarn. It calls for a US 7. So I'm using a 7 right now, and I'm getting about, I would say 5.5 stitches per inch, almost 6. And I'm not convinced that that's not going to block out to be pretty huge, especially given that I do usually go down a size at least when I knit. So I'm thinking that I might try it with the US 6 and see where that leads me. Another thing I want to mention is that the last time I showed you that little bit of shawl, I said that I was going to recast it on and try doing yarn overs on the edges, so that way my garter edges would have a little bit more stretch this way so that it wasn't constricted. I did try that, and because it's on both the right side and the wrong side, I was doing yarn overs on both sides, because you end up doing this direction. I don't know if I'm making any sense with this. But I had gaping holes. One side looked really good. It just looked nice. But the other side, I think it must have been the wrong side. I had these like gaping holes on each side, and I just couldn't deal with it. So I'm nixing that. I think that would be good maybe if you only needed to increase on the one side. I'm not sure. It wasn't working out for me and this project. I will try it again on other projects. It seems totally logical and like it would work, but it just didn't look good. So I'm gonna forget about that and just try to be nice and loose with my edges, and make sure that I have plenty of room to pull that edge of the shawl when I block it. And I do have blocking wires, which I think I've only used once, but I do have them. So I'll be sure to weave them through the garter tab and block it out that way. Did you like that visual? So that's all the news about the first light shawl. Nothing groundbreaking on that front. I have some acquisitions to show you, and I have quite a lot this episode, and I feel a little bit awkward about that, but the Long Island yarn crawl happened, not this past weekend, but the one before. And also, I received my FiberShare package from my FiberShare partner, Jennifer. So I feel like I have quite a lot of acquisitions, especially from Jennifer. So I'll just get right into it. I want to show you the Long Island yarn crawl items first. So I mentioned last episode that the first weekend in April there was a yarn crawl, and nine stores in Long Island participated. So it was a 4-day crawl, and you had these little passports and you got a stamp from each shop. If you went to all 9 shops, you were entered into a raffle for a prize, and if you didn't go to all 9 shops but you had some stamps, you still got entered for other prizes. So that each store also had their own like door prizes that they were giving away. There was lots of giveaways, a lot of fun, and I actually ended up going to all 9 shops, which I wasn't planning on, but it just sort of happened. So I went to one shop with my friend Stephanie on the Friday, and then on Saturday my friend Sarah and I went to 7 shops in one day, which is crazy, but it was so much fun. It was so much fun to see all those shops being so busy, and everyone was so friendly. It was just a ton of fun. And then on the final day of the crawl, the Sunday, I went to the final shop with my husband. It was the one that was furthest away. Sunday also happened to be the only beautiful weather day of the crawl. There was not the greatest weather in the days before that. Friday was a washout, and Saturday wasn't a washout, but it was very cold. So I do have some photos to share with you. I will try to insert them. I took some video, but I was a silly podcaster and took them the vertical way, so they don't look so good. I don't know what I was thinking. So I will insert the photos and show you the pictures that I took. Didn't take too many photos because I was busy yarn shopping, but I got a couple shots. So again, I had a lot of fun. I actually got a call a couple days ago that I won a prize. So I don't know what it is, but I'm able to pick it up this weekend. I'm really excited about it. I know that I didn't win any of the the grand prize or the first or second prize. They announced those winners already. But I won something, and that's really, really cool. So I'm excited. I'll show you that on the next podcast, whatever it is. And so out of the 9 shops, I got some items. I didn't get items from each shop, but I got items from, I think, at least 3 or 4 shops. Just little goodies. I was a good girl, I think. I think that I was. So let me show you some of the things that I got. A lot of things I got actually weren't yarn. So I'll show you this first. It's a sock ruler. Do you have one of these? If you're a sock knitter and you don't, you might want one. I've seen these before. I've seen them in shops online. I've always wanted one, but I never seem to remember that I want one when ordering other things, and I feel silly just ordering this and paying shipping for it. It's just super convenient, and it's rounded at the top. So if you're doing toe-up socks, you can put the ruler in this way on the little toe, and you can measure the foot of your sock this way up to the heel. If you're doing cuff down, you can put the sock in this way and measure how much ribbing you have, how much cuff you have, how much of the leg you have before you start the heel. I just think it's super convenient. And yeah, I have a tape measure, but I think that the fact that this is the shape of it, the fact that it's flat and that it's like a stiff plastic, it just makes it really easy to measure things with. And also the fact that you can sort of measure it from the inside of the sock, I think is really helpful. Because sometimes I feel like other people must have this issue as well. You measure something and then you measure it again, you get 2 different measurements. They're close to each other, but they're not quite the same. And then you're like, oh, should I make the foot a little bit longer? Should I do a couple more rows before I put in the heel? So this, you can just stick it right in the sock, and you shouldn't have to second guess it anymore. So excited to use this on my V socks. I didn't get to use it with my fangirl socks, but yeah, I will report back on the effectiveness of the sock ruler for sure. I think that I'll get a lot of use out of it. So let's go with some other non-yarny things that I got. So I got a lip balm from Long Island Livestock. It's a lanolin lippy. in the honey flavor. I love lanolin. I love lanolin. Period. That's it. I love lanolin lip balms, and I love lanolin in hand products. Not in the middle of summer, but for the most part, if my hands are dry, I love products that have lanolin in them. So this is made right in Yaphank, New York. It's the ingredients, there's only 4 of them. Olive oil, castor oil, I'm sorry, 5 of them. Olive oil, castor oil, lanolin, beeswax, and the flavor oil. So in this case, it's honey. They also had like coconut and I think an unflavored one. And I have to say, it's a little bit sheepy. So it could also be the fact that honey sort of smells that way. Honey can have that sort of earthy bitterness to it when it's in products like this. So I think it's a combination of both, but it's a little bit sheepy because of the lanolin, which I kind of like. I'm a little self-conscious when I wear it on my lips that other people will think that my face smells sheepy, but I think that most people just think this smells like honey. But it's amazing. So Long Island Livestock, they do have an online shop. I know that she does sell online. She also has all kinds of other products. Her little shop is beautiful. It's on a farm with alpacas, llamas, sheep, chickens. They do all their own hand spun there. Just beautiful. They have other body products. They had an amazing salve. Had I discovered that in the middle of December, I definitely would have bought some. So I think that hopefully I remember next year to buy a little container of their lanolin salve because it was rather fast absorbing for, you know, given the fact that it's that thick, that it's a salve. So I'll definitely be going back for that. So this was my little trinket that I got from Long Island Livestock. And the last non-knitty thing that I got on the crawl, the last non-yarn thing that I got on the crawl was this lotion bar. It's by Love and Leche. And this is in the Citrus Rose scent. I love the tin. The packaging, first of all, is adorable. So this is made in the USA as well. It's made right in New Mexico. Hand poured, all natural. Wait till you see the actual bar. It is so cute. I tried to look at it. It's a bee. So I've been using it, but I've just been trying to rub the back of the bar so that I wouldn't ruin the little bee and flower shape so that I could show you guys. I really like this. I've used solid lotion bars before and liked them, but I found that some of them are very greasy. And it's a lotion bar, it's going to be greasy to some extent, but the ones that I've tried in the past kind of left me feeling really greasy. This one, I tried the sample in the store, and I believe I got that at the Knitted Pearl in Oyster Bay, and it soaked in, not instantly, but rather quickly. My friend Sarah also got one. We both got the Citrus Rose. They had other scents. They had like lavender, which was also really pretty. I really, really like it. And I always have lotion in my project bags. Always keep a lotion in there because my hands tend to be really dry. This time of year, my hands are, dare I say, even drier now that we're going into spring than they were in the winter. I feel like sometimes the transition of the seasons just gets my hands really, really dry, especially around the cuticles. So I really, really like that. It soaks in. I've seen the Love and Leche lotion bars before. I saw them, I think, on the Suburban Stitcher podcast once. And I thought, oh, that looks awesome. But I didn't pull the trigger. I didn't order them. And I saw it in person. I was like, oh, well, it's in person. I have to get it now because it's right here in front of me. It's not like I have to pay shipping or anything. So they do, I know that they have a nice website. I have looked at them. I have toyed with buying it online before, but being that it was right in front of me, I had to go for it. So I do recommend it. It's rather fast absorbing for the fact that it is a solid bar. let me show you some yarn. So I didn't get too much yarn. I got yarn to make one project that I had in mind, which I did not go to the crawl with this project in mind, but I saw these and it jolted my memory. Unicorn tails! I'm trying to hold all of them at the same time. There we go. You can see all 3 colors now. These are Madeline Tosh unicorn tails. They are Tosh Merino light. It's like 52 yards, I think. Yes, 52 yards of TML. And I got these to make a cardamom coffee hat. So this is sort of my pattern on my radar segment, kind of rolled into my acquisitions. Oh, there we go. Now I can display them in a stunning fashion for you. So the cardamom coffee hat is by Caitlin Hunter. She is Boylan Knitworks on Instagram. She has an awesome Instagram feed. If you don't follow Caitlin, definitely check out Boylan Knitworks. But that's where I first saw this hat when she was releasing it. She also did a knit along, so you got to see a whole bunch of people knit this hat in different colors. So the 3 colors that I chose are actually, well, they're two of the 3 colors that are called for in the pattern. So this is Whiskey Barrel. I'm gonna try to show you close up because Whiskey Barrel has so much going on. Like back here it looks like, oh, that's a nice dark brown. But let me see, let's see if I twist it up, if you can see. There you go. Whiskey Barrel just has so much beautiful variation in it. Oh my goodness. It's really, really pretty in person. And this is sort of a lighter batch of Whiskey Barrel. It is the same brown that's used in the pattern. If you look up the cardamom coffee hat, you'll see that her dye that she used is much darker, or at least it photographed a lot darker. Maybe it wasn't darker. So this is the main color. And then this is my background color. Now this is Antler. She chose antique lace for her background color, so it's another shade of white. Very pretty also. I didn't see any antique lace on the crawl. I don't know if they still make it. Maybe they do. I probably could order it online, but I thought that this would be a beautiful background color. It's sort of, Antler is a nice creamy white, which I thought would be really pretty with this gem. It's Glazed Pecan. I've always loved Glazed Pecan. This also has some beautiful shading in it. Oh my goodness, so pretty. So the Glazed Pecan and the Whiskey Barrel are called for. Choosing a different shade of white for my background, Antler. And I know I'm addicted to hat knitting. I can admit that now. But I'm actually not gonna knit this. I'm gonna save this and knit this maybe in September or maybe even in August. I'm gonna save this for either a late summer, early fall knit so that I have a new hat. It's wool, but being that it's fingering weight, it won't be a super thick hat like the Cormo hat that I just knit. So I'm thinking it'll be a nice early fall project when the leaves start turning. Caitlin did put a big pom-pom on hers. A lot of people have pom-poms on theirs. So I do also want to order one. I think that Tolt has some fur pom-poms. I really want to make sure that I find an ethically sourced pom-pom, which I think the ones from Tolt are, only because they are real fur, and I just want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing. I don't want to just rush and buy a pom-pom, a fur pom-pom. I want to make sure that it's, like I said, ethically sourced. So I'm going to do some research into that because I definitely think that this hat deserves one. I also want to show you yarn that's not mine. My friend Sarah, she's a knitter, but she's sort of really jumping on the knitting bandwagon. She also loved the cardamom coffee hat and she's gonna knit one as well, but because Sarah's so cool, this is her main color. So I have her yarn hostage. I'm gonna see her this weekend though. But Look at this purple. I had to show you because I'm a purple freak and this is so cool. The name of this colorway is Flash Dance. Oh my goodness, beautiful purple. So Sarah is going to use this as her main color in place of the whiskey barrel, and then she has a very, very, very pale gray as her background color instead of the antique lace, and then her pop color instead of the glazed pecan is it's like a turquoisey color, turquoisey to the green side, I believe. So she's gonna have a totally different color palette. It's gonna look so cool. So maybe we could knit them at the same time. So I just wanted to show you that because the hat, I feel like the hat's really versatile. You could just do so many different color combinations and totally change the tone of the hat just by doing that, which I know is true for all projects, but I feel like being that it's a color work thing and being that it just uses unicorn tails, it'd be really, really easy to do. And there's lots of projects on Ravelry because Caitlin did do a knit along when the pattern was first released, so you can see some people did get creative with their color choices. So it's worth checking out if you haven't seen it yet. So the only other yarny acquisition that I got from the yarn crawl was this beautiful gem. This is from Backyard Fiberworks. It's in the mallow colorway. I've never seen Backyard Fiberworks before, and this is a little bit more muted in person. It's beautiful blush tones, just gorgeous. So it's a mini skein, which I never buy, says the lady who just got a bunch of unicorn tails, but I never just buy one-off minis. This is 80 yards, it's 20 grams, and 100% superwash merino. It's so pretty. I'm hoping I can incorporate this into something. So the unicorn tails were obviously all for one specific project that called for unicorn tails, but besides that, I really don't have a collection of minis. I have a couple, but now I have this little mini, and she's so cute. Just beautiful, beautiful color. So that's it for my Long Island Yarn Crawl acquisitions. It was a lot of fun. It was so much fun. I can't wait to do it again next year. And on the final day of the yarn crawl, it was so beautiful out, and the shop that I went to last is called Altman's, and it's way out east on Long Island, so my husband and I took a drive out there, and such a beautiful day. And after I went to Altman's, we got cheese, so it really couldn't have been better. Yarn shopping and cheese, that's my day. So the other important thing I want to share with you is my fiber share package. So in the interest of full disclosure, I actually filmed an unboxing video of my fiber share package when I received it a few days ago, and I'm a little too embarrassed to show it because it is me being a complete dork about each thing that I pull out of the package. I don't know if I'll be able to maybe salvage a piece of it just to show you what a huge dork I am. Taking everything out of the package, everything I pull out, I'm just like, oh my goodness, I'm so excited about it. And I looked back at it and I was just like, I don't know if I can show that. So I want to show you everything that was sent to me. My fiber share partner Jennifer was so incredibly generous, just unbelievable how generous Jennifer was. Incredible how much she sort of researched about me and kind of got to know my interests a little bit. She was just awesome. So if you've never heard of FiberShare, I talked a little bit about it on my last episode, but FiberShare is a swap. It happens quarterly, I believe, once a season. The only requirement is that you swap 200 grams of fiber. That's the only actual requirement that you need to fulfill. You fill out a detailed questionnaire and you say your preferred crafting methods, your preferred fibers, colors, things you like, things you don't like. It's a really detailed questionnaire. And then they match you up with two FiberShare partners. So I sent my package to Jessica a couple weeks ago, which I did share with you all of the yarny things that I sent to her, and she loved her FiberShare package. I'm so happy. I was a little bit nervous, but that was really, really exciting to send it to her. And then my other FiberShare partner is Jennifer, and she's the one who sent me my FiberShare package. There is a fee for FiberShare. It's $7, and they pool that money. They take it to put together packages for people whose partners end up backing out, or maybe something happens and they just end up not being able to participate. They take that money and they buy items for FiberShare packages for those people, so that nobody ends up not receiving a package. So I'm gonna show you everything. I have it all in a tote bag because Jennifer gave me the coolest tote. I'm just gonna cover my face with it because this is better than my face. How cute is this? I love this FiberShare logo. It's amazing. And look at this tote. It's the perfect tote because it's kind of wide but shortish. So it's not like a total black hole. I'm obsessed with tote bags. I love tote bags. I have too many of them. But this is great for a sweater project, a blanket project, big shawls, or like hauling a couple different projects at once in your wallet. And it's got straps that are not ginormous, so it's a really, really comfortable tote to wear. And this FiberShare logo is so cool. And do you see over here the drop spindle and the crochet hook? It's so cool. This would be a really cool tattoo. Ooh. It'd be really big though. It's only so small you could make this logo, I feel like. So I'll show you all the goodies in the bag. And again, Jennifer was just crazy generous, just so generous. So in no particular order, I'll just grab stuff out of the bag and show you. So this is all the fibery stuff that she sent me. She also sent me some other goodies, which I'll share with you as well. But I'll do the yarn first. So the first thing that she sent to me is Monostil Uruguay, or Uruguay. And this is the Maxima Fair Trade Merino. It's a worsted weight. These are such really cool spring colors. It's just a really watery blue. It's coming out brighter on the screen than it is in person. It's not this bright. Maybe that's a little bit better. And beautiful greens, very springy, but that watery blue is what kills me. It's so pretty. So this is similar to Malabrigo worsted, if you're more familiar with that. It's a similar type of yarn. Really, really pretty, really soft, so good for anything that's close to your skin. This would be a really nice cowl. So that's goodie number one. This is goodie number two. This is hand spun, hand dyed cheviot. I can't get over this. So I've never worked with hand spun before. I'm gonna get really close. Extreme close up. It's so pretty. So this is Jennifer's friend, and it's one last stitch. Hand spun, hand dyed cheviot. 85 grams, so 3 ounces. I am not sure what I'm gonna make with this. It's a pretty fine gauge. It's a little bit thick and thin, but it's pretty much all at a decently fine gauge. It looks like all fingering to sport going on here. So I don't know yet what I'll make with this, but it's really special. It's my first skein of hand spun. I've never owned hand spun before. I'm so excited. Oh, there's this one part where the yarn twists and it's the blue and the yellow. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to show you well, but So cool. There's more, you guys. There's more. Eden Cottage yarns. This is 100% superwash BFL. So Eden Cottage is a UK based yarn company. This is their Boland DK. It is in the silver birch colorway, which in my green walled craft room looks pretty green, but if you take this out into a room that's not green, it looks a little bit more silver with just a tinge of green to it. So it's a really pretty colorway. I love BFL. I just love it. Love, love, love. So it's a DK weight and it is 245 yards. So I can't wait to use this. So pretty. It's such a beautiful wash of color because I love grays. I love gray, but this is gray with like a green tinge. So even better. This reminds me of like the green tinted glass. Very pretty. There's still more. I can't even believe this. Blacker Yarns, Tamar. Unreal. I have blacker yarns, you guys. This is just... what? So I was so shocked when I pulled this out of my Fiber Share package. It's so pretty. This is... I actually wrote down some info from their website because I wanted to learn more about blacker yarns. I've heard of them before, I've always been very interested, but they have detailed information on their site about their yarns and the wools and the sheep. So I went to their website. First of all, this is their Luster Blend 4-ply, and it is 380 yards, and it really is lustrous. I thought this had silk in it when I pulled it out of the package. It doesn't. It's just wool. And this colorway is called Kenzie. I love this shade of mauve. This is like black raspberry ice cream. It's the exact shade of the black raspberry ice cream that my mom and I used to get at Somerset Creamery. Oh, we still do get it when I go up and visit, but we ate a lot of black raspberry ice cream and it's this exact shade. So I think that's really cool. But I want to read to you a little bit of the information about the yarns, the sheep that contributed to this, because I thought it was really, really interesting. So it's a blend of Luster breeds and Cornish mule. And the Luster breeds are Wensleydale, Teeswater, Cotswold, and Black Leicester long wool. All of those sheep breeds are either at risk or vulnerable according to the Rare Breed Survival Trust. So this is an extremely special skein of yarn to me. It's a little bit rustic feeling. It's soft. It's rustically soft, we'll call it that. But the website says that it softens every time you wash. It just gets softer and softer, and I can definitely see that. So this is gonna have to be something special, maybe a little shawl or something. It's beautiful, or maybe I'll buy more. Maybe I'll just buy more, because this is, again, it's really special. So if you've not heard of Blacker Yarns, they're another UK-based company. Check out their website. It's a wealth of information. It's really interesting. If you're interested in all in wools and the different sheep that contribute to the wools that you use, check out Blacker Yarns. Very, very cool. Look at the colors. This is Moonshine Fibers, who I had not heard of. I checked out her, I follow her on Instagram now. She's got some beautiful stuff. So this is 80/20 superwash nylon. So it's really plump. And this colorway, okay, the name of this colorway could not be more perfect. It's called Fairy Marshland. Genius. This is the perfect name for this color. Perfect name. It's got some really cool stuff going on the inside. This is just, it's really pretty. Look at that, like mauvey purple in there. Look at that. Look at that. This is really cool, like muted spring. Getting the fuzz off. Inevitably, I have a little piece of Lola fur here and there everywhere I go. So this is really, really beautiful. I'm thinking socks, but I'm not sure. Probably socks. So pretty. So pretty. I love it. And I love the bits of darker green too, like that. That's so cool, and I think it pairs really, really well with like that blush. Look at this. Look at this bit of blush. Awesome. And there is one more skein of yarn. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. This skein of yarn is amazing. It's everything. I think I squealed like a little girl when I opened this. She had all of the skeins wrapped in tissue paper, and when I pulled this one out of the tissue paper, I lost it. Dun 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 dun. It's Republic of Wool. This is the Good as Gold speckled colorway. So I love Republic of Wool. I don't have any of her yarn, except I do have that awesome skein of 11 themed yarn, which was a Republic of Wool House of Alamode collaboration, which I'm highly coveting. Don't know what to do with. But I've never had just a skein of Republic of Wool. I follow her on Instagram. Her account is beautiful. Her yarns are so pretty. So this is Good as Gold, and look at that. It's gold and with speckles of rust and mustard, and like this like taupey color is in there as well, and even like a chartreuse sort of yellowy green going on. Grello, if you will. It's Grello. Yeah, that's Grello. That's a better way to describe that. This is a DK. It's a DK weight. 250 yards of DK weight yarn. This has to be something special. It has to. A little over a year ago, I knit a beeswax hat, and it was my favorite hat. I knit it in the Madeline Tosh Daffodil colorway, which is now discontinued. It was my favorite, and I'm sort of thinking that this would make an incredible beeswax hat. But then again, I just knit a yellow hat. So, and I have all these hats now because I'm crazy about knitting hats apparently. So I think that would be a good idea had I not just made this for myself. So I don't know, 250 yards of DK weight. This has got to be something special. It just has to. It's just so beautiful. I can't wait to see what this is going to look like in the yarn cake. I can't even imagine. So those are all the fibery goodies that Jennifer sent to me, but she didn't stop there. She also sent me some little goodies. So she sent me a couple different teas to try, different black teas, which I love. She sent me Tezo chai, organic chai, and organic Darjeeling, which I'm really super interested in. I've not had Darjeeling. A luminous black tea with floral notes and a brisk finish. Yes, please. Yes, please. So excited to try those. She gave me a few of each. I just grabbed these for display purposes. Also a fiber share sticker, which I'm excited about. I actually already have one, back there on my board. You see it? But now I can actually use this one because whenever I get a cute little sticker or button or card, I stick it up there on my bulletin board. But this one I can actually use because I have 2 of them now. So I'm excited about this. I don't know what I'm going to put it on. My iPad maybe? My laptop? I don't know. I have so many choices. She also sent me some lotion because I mentioned that I love hand lotion, and I love this lotion. I put it on before I started recording. Savannah Bee Honey Body Lotion in Tupelo Honey. It says body lotion, but I tell you, I've been using it as hand lotion and it soaks in pretty fast. This is also made in the USA, which I love. Savannah Bee Company. It's a very mild honey scent to it, and I am loving it. Made with real honey. I really, really like this. I was actually going to use it as a body lotion this morning, but I realized that if I did that, I would use a lot of this tube, and I wanted to savor it. So I'm not going to use it as a body lotion. I'm only going to use it as a hand lotion. Then she got me not 1, not 2, but 3 Progress Keepers. Spoiling me so much. So she got me 2 Progress Keepers from the Gnome Knitter. Love the Gnome Knitter. I have a couple of Joanna's Progress Keepers already, so I can add these to my Gnome Knitter collection. I sealed it up, of course. Here we go. So she got me 2 from Joanna, from the Gnome Knitter. Little ice cream sandwich. Focus there, focus. There we go. Little ice cream sandwich, so cute. And look at this. It's got funfetti. We don't want to focus, but take my word for it, it's got funfetti. So cute little ice cream sandwiches. And then she got me a Progress Keeper from Sucre Miniatures, and it's one that I've been lusting after, and it doesn't make any sense as to why I don't already own this, but it's the pink donut with sprinkles. I can't. I'm dying to put this on my April socks because it's a pink donut, but I wanted to present this to the podcast first like this, but I am just dying to hook this onto my April socks. I love it so much. Little drips of frosting down the side. And look at the, I know this is weird, but look at the back side of it. It's like golden, like it was actually a donut that was baked. So I am just in complete awe of Jennifer's awesomeness. She was so generous. It's unreal. I love every single thing that she sent me. I had so much fun with FiberShare. It's my first time doing it. And based on my experience, I would recommend it. If you like swaps, I've never done a swap before, so it was fun for me. I really enjoyed getting to know the 2 people that I swapped with, and for me it was just as much fun putting together the package to send to Jessica as it was to receive my FiberShare package from Jennifer. I thought the whole thing was really fun, just everything about it. So I don't think they've begun signups yet for the next round, but I'm sure that they will soon. They have a website, and then FiberShare is also on Instagram at FiberShare. And it's a lot of fun. And you can also look up their hashtag, hashtag FiberShare, and you can see all of the different packages that people have received, because usually most people post a picture of it on their Instagram accounts. So it's really a lot of fun. So that's all of the stuff I have to show you this episode. I know it was a lot. Thanks for sticking with me. This episode's definitely gonna end up being a little longer than my other ones, so thanks for sticking around. And I usually mention a podcast at the end of my episode that I've been watching lately, and I just want to point you in the direction of the Wool Needles Hands podcast. hosted by Taylor. If you've not checked out Taylor's podcast or her Instagram, definitely you should. Her Instagram is beautiful. She takes awesome photos, and her podcast is also really beautifully done. She just has beautiful lighting, and everything is just so, and it looks so beautiful. And then her demeanor is so inviting as well. She's on Instagram, she's a very friendly person, and in the podcast she comes across that way as well. I love watching her podcast, and like I said, she takes awesome photos. She's been on the hand dyeing kick lately, so she's been posting a lot of her hand dyeing adventures on Instagram, and she's coming up with some really cool stuff. She's just hand dyeing for herself, but it's fun to watch. I love watching other people's experiments with hand dyeing. So if you've not checked out Taylor and the Wool Needles Hands podcast, you should give that a go. So that's all I have for this episode. If you've enjoyed chatting with me and you're a first-time viewer, I hope that you consider subscribing to my channel so you don't miss any of my new videos. And again, if you're a returning viewer, thank you so very much. I appreciate you spending time with me every episode and keeping current. It means a lot to me. And until next time, happy knitting!